Hey guys, welcome to another Disc Golf Brothers video. Today we're going to learn about putters and mid-range, how to throw them, how to putt, and how to even drive with them well. Stay tuned. In disc golf, there are 4 different types of discs. You have the putters, the mid-range, the fairway drivers, and the distance drivers. Now, for beginners, I would say that they should start with the putters and then the mid-range. These are for more heavier arms that can throw farther. So, let's first talk about the putters. Putters are the most basic type of disc. They are, pretty easy to throw, but you need to get the technique right. If you throw them nose up, they'll show you. If you throw them nose down the way you're supposed to, then they will show you. If you throw them on a hyzer line, they'll go on that hyzer line. If you throw them on an anhyzer line, they'll flex. Now, all these terms, what do they mean? Well, nose up means that when you throw the disc with backhand, the disc goes up just like this, so it'll fly higher. But that's not sometimes very good. You always want the disc to go nose down. Now, if you're throwing backhand wants the disc to spin clockwise. So the disc wants to go left because of the clockwise rotation. If you were to throw sidearm, the sidearm throw makes it go the opposite way, which means the disc wants to fly to the right. Now, this is just for right-hand players. If you're a lefty, it'll be opposite. So putters are the most basic type of disc, but the next step up are mid-range. Now the difference with mid-range is the rim size is just a little bit smaller. See how the putter and the mid-range just differ with those rims? Well, that's the only difference between the two. So beginners can throw putters and mid-range. I would stay away from fairway drivers and distance drivers just for the beginning because those are more hard to throw. And they will cause a lot of stress and maybe the loss of a disc if you throw them the wrong way. The next thing I want to talk about is the types of throws that you normally see out on the disc golf course. So, these are all for right-handed players. What you'll see is for backhands, you'll see the hyzer, which means the disc is positioned so with it being level to the way it wants to fly. So if you throw backhand and the hyzer's like this, it will want to go to the left. If you throw it anhyzer, or the opposite way that it wants to fly, a putter, for instance, will actually fly that way and flex and then go back to the left. Now, depending on how overstable your disc is, it depends on how much your disc will fly to the left. Now, there are other types of throws, but I'm not going to go over a ton of them in detail in this video. Later, I will go over those, but right now we're just going to talk about the basic throws. So, what does the word overstable mean? So, overstable basically means that the disc flies straight for a time and then goes to the left. Now, this all happens because of this rim right here. This small little rim helps that it's called a bead, sometimes known as a bead. It helps the disc to fly straight and then go left. Now, this is a mid-range. This disc is a understable disc, which means this disc will actually fly straight for a time and bear off to the right just a little bit and then fade back to the left. Now, depending how much overstability it has, the disc will actually either stay on that right turn or it will fade back to the left, depending on how understable it is. Now, all discs have flight numbers, and all those flight numbers differ with the brand that you get. Now, most of the discs are MVP or Streamline. That's what I prefer. But with like Innova, with Dynamic, all of the flight numbers will be different. On the screen, I'll show you an example of what flight numbers are. Now, the first one is speed. Now, speed isn't just how far it's going to go. It's actually how much power you need to throw it and how far it's going to go. So a speed of 14 or 13 like this driver over here, this driver is very fast, so a beginner won't be able to throw it very well. But these putters all have a speed of 2 or 3, which is very good for a beginner. The next flight number that I want to talk about is glide. So glide basically means how long it'll stay in the air. So with a putter, it will stay in the air only if you give it spin, which is just how much the disc spins. The more spin you give it, the longer it'll stay in the air. For a driver, it has even more glide because of the flight plate being either domed or flat, while a putter has a pretty good flight plate. The next number is turn. Now, turn only has to do with understable discs. With an understable disc, the turn will be, a number that isn't too high, maybe 1 or 2, for it to fly to the right and then fade left. If it's a higher number, it'll be even more overstable, and it will stay on that right turn all the way through its flight. The last term is fade. Now, fade is what I was telling you was that it'll fly straight for a time and then fade left. Fade is how much that will turn to the left or to the right if you're a lefty. Now, all these numbers are not set in stone, which means people suggest what the flight numbers could be in the testing phase of each disc. Now, I want to do videos seeing all these discs and how they fly and how my impressions are for them, so that I can help you guys and help you see what I throw. But for right now, I'm just showing you the basic types of discs. In the next episode, I'm going to show you different fairway drivers and distance drivers and how they're thrown in comparison with putters and mid-range. Alright, so putting, I believe, is the most important part of disc golf. It can gain you strokes, it can make you the best at disc golf just by your putting game. Now, this is a basket. It has chains and a basket itself. The disc has to hit the chains and drop in the basket. That's the objective of the game, just like a hole in golf. You have to make it in the hole. If it does not get in this basket, if it hits the top, hits the chains and spits out, then it does not count. You have to pick up your disc again and place it in the basket. So these next few clips, I'm going to show you my practice on how I putt so that you can try it. From about 7 feet. You guys see how all those putters hit the chains and dropped into the basket. Now that's the most ideal thing in disc golf. You don't want the putter to hit the hole in the middle and bounce out. You don't want the disc to fly through the chains and bounce out. You don't want the putter to hit the basket or hit the top. You don't want it to hit the flag. The most ideal thing is you want to hit the chains in it for it to go in. That is the most important thing in disc golf. Okay, so now that we've covered putters and mid-ranges, I want to talk about fairway drivers and distance drivers. Now, they're almost the same. They're very, very similar. Their rims aren't that different, other than the distance drivers being a little bit more shallow in the way their rims are, just because you need more speed. But also, this rim length is a lot bigger on distance drivers than fairway drivers. Now, the objective with fairway drivers is that you want them to go and be very, very accurate with the way they're thrown. I'll show you some clips now of the accuracy they can hold if you get them to be thrown the right way. Now, distance drivers are built for distance, as the name implies, but they can also be fairway drivers, but with a little bit more distance. You just don't have as much control over the way they fly. But they are very good for spike hyzers, for any other type of throw you want to throw. I'll show you here some throws for distance drivers, and I hope you like them. Alright, so I'm going to start by throwing 2 putters, and then I'm going to go to my 2 mid-range. Now, these 2 mid-range will fly differently. This one's overstable, while this one's understable. So they're going to fly differently. These 2 should fly the same. I'm going to put this one on a flat line. It goes very straight down the fairway. Let's do that again with this one. Dead straight. My overstable mid-range. So that one is a little beat in. Beat in basically means that that little rim on the bottom is beat up, which means that the disc will become more understable the more you use it. So that one just faded a little bit to the right, even though that it should have faded left. Now it's time for my understable mid-range. I'm going to put this one on a slight hyzer, just like this, so that it'll flip up and turn. That one on a little bit too much hyzer, and it actually stayed dead straight, which is pretty ideal for some of these shots because dead straight is really nice. Next, I'm going to throw 2 stable fairway drivers and 1 understable distance driver and 1 overstable distance driver. This one should fly dead straight with a little bit of fade to the left. I don't know if you could see that, but that faded just a little bit at the end. That one flew exactly the same, and that's what I should expect because those are the same types of discs. Next, my overstable distance driver. Now I don't think you could see that, but that one flew pretty much straight. I just threw it a little bit to the right, and that one flew just outside of our fence, and that faded just a little bit to the left after it was done. Next is my understable fairway distance driver, excuse me. This one I'm going to throw in a little bit of hyzer so it flips up and maybe fades to the left. Okay, so that one actually is more understable than I was expecting. That one actually, I threw on a hyzer, it flipped up and actually turned to the right. So that one is more understable than I was expecting. But as you can see, all different the types of discs are very different. Putters, they fly straight. Mid-range, they have a wide variety. Understable flies to the right more, overstable flies to the left. For fairway drivers, they fly more straight like a putter because you can be more, they're more versatile with getting on the fairway. Distance drivers, you have to be more accurate with them because they themselves can't be as accurate. So it's just a whole bunch of juggling how you want to throw, what disc you want to throw, how the fairway goes down, and then finally to putt into the basket. I hope you guys liked that video of me explaining what the different types of discs are, and even me throwing some off the tee. I always have fun making these videos. I hope you guys like them. If you aren't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you get notified for when our new videos come out. And leave a comment and a like, because it really helps us out. Thanks again for watching.